It's official. The future is here. VR is real and available in the homes of everybody with $800 and a lot of room. No longer do you have to explore the cosmos through the limitation of your television. Instead, you can jump into a new and unknown world, for real, all in the confines of your own home. For the past 3 months, we've had a test unit of the HTC Vive in our offices, so my apartment, and we've been putting it through the ringer. Does it live up to all of our wildest expectations, or does it simply come off as a Virtual Boy 2.0? In reality, there's a little bit of both. First, the good. The Vive is far and away the best consumer virtual reality on the market. Its two 1200 by 1080 display panels provide a pretty, bright image, while its laser position sensors allow for almost free movement through the environment. This is a far cry from the chair-based VR experiences of the Rift and PlayStation VR, creating a level of immersion that the competitors simply cannot match. My first time putting on the Vive was one of the most magical moments in my recent memory. It reminded me of the feeling I got when I first played the Wii, or the first time I stepped into a Borderlands game. The possibilities excited me. I wanted to experiment with what I could do and test the bounds of my new world. To make sure you don't push these bounds out of your 5th floor living room window, the Vive provides helpful markers showing the boundaries of your world. Walk too close to the edge and a white grid appears before you, warning you not to pass. While that grid works wonders within the confined space of E3 or the Microsoft Store, it is less reliable within the home. Often, I would not notice that my roommate moved the chair into the grid until I was tripping over the chair and falling headlong into the floor. To the Vive's credit though, they did accurately track the motion of my head crashing into the floor, giving me a great new vantage point from which to experience Job Simulator 2050. Speaking of motion tracking, when it works, it really works, creating a sense of almost complete immersion for the player. While not always instantaneous, the effect was close enough to where I could not tell a difference. Waving a lightsaber around in the Star Wars game or shooting a gun at a zombie in the Brookhaven experiment was the closest I think I will ever get to any of those experiences in real life. What's more, the controllers have a weight to them that almost tricks your mind into believing that you really are holding whatever object the game wants you to think you're holding, whether that's a lightsaber or a crossbow. This weight also helps when you accidentally smash the controller against the wall, making sure that the controller, if not your wall, will live to see another day. That being said, when the motion tracking freaks out, it really goes wrong. There are few feelings more disorienting than when the Vive suddenly thinks that you're actually across the room and a few feet shorter for some reason. It's jarring in the worst way, causing me to get so much nausea that I had to take a break away from the system for the rest of the day. Also, if you live in a crowded building like I do, the controllers and headset sometimes have a difficult time connecting and staying connected to the console. While this was not a problem every day, it was just enough to be annoying. All this technology would be for naught if there weren't fun games to play, and the Vive has these in spades. The games library definitely needs a little more time to grow, but it has a great starting point, having a game of virtually every genre for the proud owner to enjoy. The personal favorite of my apartment was a tower defense archery minigame that came in the lab. You sit there and defend off wave upon wave of enemies with just your wits and a flood of arrows. It's short but fun, and that really is the main problem with the Vive. Every experience currently on the platform feels a little like a tech demo, even if they are impressively themed and extraordinarily detailed. I would play one demo, nod, say yep, that was fun, and then move on. There's nothing that drew me in and then kept me playing the game. Nothing that says, this is why I spent $800. And while the headset is amazing, it becomes very hot and heavy, in the literal, not metaphorical sense, after an extended play session. At first, I attributed this to my physical movement during my VR experience, but after playing it some more, I wasn't so sure. The unit is bulky and hard to put on sometimes, especially after taking several times just to make sure my hair or any of the cables were not obstructing my view. But even with the clear view, the beautiful screen can seem lacking on more extended playthroughs. After 30 minutes, your mind starts to focus your eyes on the pixels of the screen rather than the actual image. To test out my full time limit with the unit, I attempted to watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall in the Vive's theater mode. And sure enough, after 32 minutes, I became tired and sweaty, and after 30 more minutes, I had to give up due to a VR-induced Jason Segel headache. The Vive makes me excited for the future that we are about to achieve and the possibilities it unlocks. However, the Vive itself feels very much like a first-generation console. Great proof of concept, but rough around the edges. Personally, I loved it and would recommend it to anyone who just so happens to have $800 laying around and a little bit of technical experience. But I also recognize that it's not for everybody. It's complex to install and requires a bit of troubleshooting with every playthrough, something that I'd rather show my parents than recommend to them. Even so, we give the HTC Vive 8 confused grandmothers out of 10.